oh my God. Don't we ever care about the consumer driving the vehicle or that has insured the vehicle or whatever the case may be? This car is not safe to drive.
Yeah.
And if the shop either doesn't know the things need to be done, or I don't know why they wouldn't have done them. If it's part of the loss,
Right.
why bother replacing a fender and not doing the rest of it? I'm not asking, nor would I ever ask the insurance company to pay for something again that they already paid for. But if there's stuff that should have been done,
Yeah.
or still needs to be done that was not paid for, it is still part of that loss.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Reamer. That's Robert Grieve. And as always, it's a privilege to share this morning with you, or whatever time it is that you are viewing this. As you know, we air these videos every Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time. You can adjust for whatever time zone you are in. And hey, listen, if you've been watching this and you see that there's value in these videos, we would love it if you would click the subscribe button and then just move on over and give that thumbs up. That tells YouTube that this is content that is valuable to other people, and they will share it. And there's been a whole lot of sharing going on.
There has been a lot of sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you, my dear friends. So grateful that you're here with us.
Yeah.
And God bless you.
You know, we've seen a significant surge in viewership and commentary on the last several videos. And if you didn't know, we have a complete playlist of 175 different videos that are all consumer focused. They are all directed towards you, the driving public. Now, we have a lot of friends who chat with us on Saturday mornings as we premiere the video.
Yep.
We chat live with you guys. And many of them are also in the industry.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, in last week's video, which there will be a link up here as well as down below, we had, well over 800 different views. As of the day of our recording this, could be well more than that by the time we get to Saturday.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of commentary. And one of the things that I talked to Rob about this morning was, I think it's important for you to know that we read every comment, we respond whenever appropriate and possible for us to respond. And
I do have a day job.
You do have a day job, absolutely. But we wanted to just go back and by way of first of a little bit of a review.
Yep.
Last week, and you can watch this after this video, last week we shared a video about the real behind-the-scenes goings-on, real conversations between an insurance adjuster and his supervisor.
Yep.
And you, the independent body shop that is trying to help somebody who unfortunately had
we were trying to help.
Yes, we were.
The insurance company was offering absolutely zero assistance.
That's what I mean.
I'm sorry.
Go watch the video. But we were trying to help because the repair that was done on the vehicle a year prior was incomplete.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're at. The conversation was lively in the comments.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're going to share some of the comments that we received because I know that you guys don't normally just go trolling through the comments to catch up on light reading. So we're going to go ahead and share some of the comments and our responses so that you kind of understand where we're coming from.
You know, these are real world situations, and I like to bring them to you so that you understand what's going on behind the curtain.
Right.
Because so many people don't understand what this is all about, what it takes to, the fixing of the car is complex all by itself, but then the dealing with third parties gets even messier sometimes, and the lack of understanding. And so I like to bring you into it and give you a glimpse of what's going on so you understand.
Right.
And your comments and the conversation that's been going on after the video has been keeping it alive, and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's start with one of the first comments that we received on this. And Rob, I'll just read the comment and then get your response to it. Even though it's on the screen here, you can read it for yourself. This needs to be shared and viewed by all Americans who are paying for comprehensive and collision coverage. Thank you for sharing this person's experience.
You're welcome. And, thank you to that person for tuning in. That was a new comment from that person. I don't know if they viewed us before or what the case may be. And that's truly a huge shout out. I'm grateful beyond words. And it's not only for comprehensive and collision, it's your liability. And also, if they handle one thing one way, they're going to handle everything the same way.
Right.
And they're supposed to be on your side. And we talked about that in the last video, what we expect of this contract that we've entered into with an insurer.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a look at the next one here. I've personally had insurance losses recently, not my fault, and hearing what these professionals serve up to the common person is incredulous, even staring up against state guidelines I've shared with them to support my demands. It's getting harder to comprehend, and it starts at the top. Management is scrambling with all the pitfalls this industry has been sweeping under the proverbial rug all these years. Again, we're talking about the insurer that is causing this person's frustration.
Yeah, well, they're one of the people, and we need to keep in mind that if you go back and watch that video, there's two pieces to this.
That's right.
One is a shop did a horrible job on a car and is not in a workmanship-like manner.
Right.
It is not safe, should have never been delivered to the guest, and how is the guest to know? We'll cover that in a different comment.
Yeah.
But he's right in what he writes here. It does come from the top, and it's just trickled down, only it's not trickled down. It's like a waterfall.
Yeah, it's pushed down.
Of information on the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
The people that are dealing one-on-one with the shops, they want to mitigate their damages and not pay if they don't have to, and
right.
the cheapest, most economical way for them to get something accomplished, which is not in your best interest. A thorough job to put your car back to pre-loss condition the way it was before the accident happened.
Right.
That should be the goal of everybody. And if not everybody is rowing in that direction, you, the consumer, is the one that is going to take the brunt of it.
Yep.
And this is management pushing down bad policies, and it isn't necessarily the boots on the ground that they're communicating the answer to you.
Right.
But this is coming from so far up, and it's all about damage control for their financials.
You mentioned it's not necessarily the adjusters or the boots on the ground that are they have to relay this information by their orders from above.
Yep.
It's also probably safe to say that the challenges that we see on a day-to-day basis here behind the scenes have absolutely nothing to do with your agent sitting in the office. They're your neighbors.
Yeah.
These are people who have jobs, and their job is to sell.
Yeah, your aunts, uncles, and friends, and all the rest of that become agents.
That's not what we're talking
But
about.
we need to involve them in the conversation so they have an understanding of what they are selling.
That's right.
And they need to know that things are not going well and make decisions of their own.
There you go.
So there is that too.
Our next one says, the shop and the insurance company are clearly liable in this case, but they have legal teams in-house. So can she, the lady that we were talking about, her car, can she win in court? And Rob, you made an interesting point.
I said, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm not a lawyer. That's not what I do. I repair cars and take care of people.
Right.
But if I have a jury of my peers making the decision and reading the emails that I read last week, I'm betting that the jury's going to say, we're not going to stand for that. That's my 2 cents. There's far more that goes into it than just those emails, but those emails to me set up somewhat of a bad faith circumstance.
At least a bias.
In my opinion. Again, it's just my opinion. I'm not a lawyer.
That's right.
But do I feel like if this was put in front of a jury of my peers, that if they would kind of understand my point of view and the consumer's point of view, I think we got a good shot at it.
There you go. All right, what's next? This commenter says, wait, did some people actually think insurance companies were their friends?
Yeah, I don't know about the friend part. I don't think anybody thinks they're friends, but they do.
Maybe neighbors.
Neighbors.
Just saying.
Maybe could be good neighbors, or
I don't know.
pretending to be good neighbors. Who knows?
Who knows?
But look, I'm in a lot of groups. I see a lot of comments from consumers, like when somebody says, hey, I had an accident. Who should I go to? And you read all the comments. Or they say, hey, I just got canceled by my insurance company. Who should I go see? Who's the best?
Right.
And then I hear some of the insurance companies' names that are coming out, and then all the people that believe that that's a great insurance company. I wish you'd come spend a day with me.
Yeah.
If you read what they write and listen to what they said, you would not think that one little bit. There are some very good companies out there. I'm not talking about them.
There you go.
I mean, we just got one, we put in a supplement for a guest that has some damage. And naturally, the first estimate is absolutely meaningless until you take the vehicle apart and assess what all the damage is.
Right.
And then the number can go up exponentially from what the initial estimate is. Insurance company wrote back, agree with your repair plan, please proceed, we'll fund. That's it.
That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. You don't see the commercials on TV. So
There's your big hint of the day.
they are. Do we think they think they're friends? No, but they have a lot of trust in the name recognition, and to me, it is misplaced in many cases because of the commercials and the taglines,
the marketing.
and all that marketing that gives you that warm and fuzzy that they're going to be there for you. Many cases, they are not.
All right. What do we got? This is an interesting and
This was
lively
a
conversation.
great conversation.
Yeah. So somebody says appraisal clause. Now we have multiple videos and several blogs on our website about the nature and the mechanism of the appraisal clause. So we're not going to go too deep into it right here. However,
You should understand it because it's in everybody's policy except for one in Colorado.
Yeah.
And several other states, they don't have it, but in some states they are mandated by law to have it.
Yeah.
Ours is not one of those states.
one of our regular viewers, and we're so grateful for him, gives his opinion. He says it only happens, it being the appraisal clause, only happens before the car is fixed. Now, in this picture here, Rob, you said could be an option, which was referring to the original poster
Yes.
appraisal clause.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else jumped in and said it's the least expensive resolution unless the insurer voluntarily comes back to the table. Now, address that before you come back and address it only happens before the car is fixed.
Okay. It could be absolutely the least expensive resolution, and it could be part of the resolution. And this guest, I believe, could invoke the appraisal clause.
Yeah.
Which would, now there's no voluntary, it's going to be to the insurance company and their appraiser,
Neutral.
unbiased appraiser, and this guest's neutral and unbiased appraiser would be
Right.
us,
Right.
getting together on what the value of the loss is and what should have been paid, what shouldn't have been paid, all the rest of that. and coming up with a binding decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I am very involved in the appraisal clause part of things.
Okay.
There are many cases that I recommend that's the place to go. That's the way to go when things are so wacky. It's not the easiest way to go. It is a lengthy process. But to this person's comment up there, it only happens before the car is fixed. Actually, that's not my experience.
Okay.
My experience is we used to do it when the car was disassembled. We sent in the supplement to say, this is what we found in addition to what the initial estimate said. And they come back and they're half of that.
Right.
And they won't budge. We always give them opportunities, and we try to share understanding as to why these things are important. Many times that doesn't mean anything to these people because they're not repairers.
Right.
They're just trying to get everything to fit into a box.
Keep the money.
And doesn't necessarily work that way because every accident is different.
Right.
So it used to be that we would invoke the appraisal or have the guest invoke the appraisal clause right then and there.
Yeah.
But now the repairs are stalled for, could be a month, 2 months, and the rules are loosey-goosey on the actual procedure of the appraisal clause. The idea behind it is clear. How it gets executed and timelines and stuff, there isn't a lot of, depending on what state you live in.
Yes.
So, the insurance company can drag things out a long way, and the car's sitting here unrepaired.
Right.
That creates the problem of what if everything wasn't caught, and there are certain things that have to be done at the end of the process
Yeah.
that you can't figure that price in right now because prices change and labor rates change. Like if we have to send a car to a dealership for calibrations,
Yep.
and they give me a price today, well, that price may be different a month and a half or so from there. So there's unknowns still even after that supplement is submitted. Yeah. So if you go through the appraisal clause and come to a binding agreement right after the first sup, well, then that excludes anything else that may come up. So now the thing to do is to do all the repairs and then put it through the appraisal clause, because you have a complete picture, and now we're looking at the whole loss.
That's a big thing that you just described there. And one of the things that going through my mind as you're speaking is the other side of that coin is after the repair, if you're not satisfied with the compensation that you've received, then there's an opportunity possibly for diminished value. Depending on, there's a lot of ways that diminished value doesn't work, but Right.
there's many ways that it does.
Yeah.
So the circumstances, they have to kind of line up. If it's your own policy, you're not going to get diminished value. However, you may if you're filing under underinsured or non-insured property damage. So make sure your policy has that.
All right.
All right?
Yep. This is the last one that we'll talk about in this particular situation, but it's the one that got the most amount of play, if you will. And seeing as how it got the most play, we maybe saved the best for last. So here's the comment. It came in and said, I can't blame the insurance company as long as they paid for the damage. They'll never double pay for something already paid, and if they reach an agreed price with the shop, there's nothing the insurance company can do. Plus, she just found out the car is acting weird after a year? That's very suspicious. What do you think?
I love it. There is some merit to that conversation. And let's clarify some things. I'm not asking, nor would I ever ask the insurance company to pay for something, again, that they already paid for. But if there's stuff that should have been done,
Yeah.
or still needs to be done that was not paid for, it is still part of that loss. Again, I'm not an attorney. That's what I believe.
Well, and we have
Put me in front of a jury of my peers.
Yeah, we have a bit of a differing opinion. The same poster comes back and says, if the shop didn't object and neither the customer objected when picking up the car, it was a completed sale and there's not much you can do from here.
Yeah. Well, it is a completed sale from the standpoint we did X to the vehicle,
They did X.
the body shop, but they didn't do everything it needs.
Right.
I believe there's still structural damage that hasn't been repaired, and I believe there are suspension parts that still need to be replaced from this loss. I wasn't there during the loss. I wasn't there during the repair. I'm looking at the car after it's been repaired. Not so good. And I believe that all this is still part of the loss.
Right.
So you could say it's a completed sale from the standpoint of the insurance company paid to do this, and I did this, and the guest picked it up and paid, and now that's a complete sale.
Right.
Oh my God. Don't we ever care about the consumer driving the vehicle, or that has insured the vehicle, or whatever the case may be? This car is not safe to drive.
Yeah.
And if the shop either doesn't know the things need to be done, or I don't know why they wouldn't have done them. If it's part of the loss,
Right.
why bother replacing a fender and not doing the rest of it?
I think that one of the things that is important to keep in mind here is the reason we started these videos is because not all things are created equal. Not all body shops, not all insurance companies, and there are some who go the extra mile to pull the original equipment manufacturer's procedures and to put OEM parts on the vehicles and to do the job correctly to full completion. And then there are others who are either driven, not in this case, but they could be driven by whatever their insurance partner says they have to do. That is not the case in this situation. Or they just didn't do that. They didn't do the work. They didn't finish the
They
job.
didn't diagnose it properly or thoroughly. I want to go back to this other claim that was made. Plus, she found out the car was acting weird after a year, ? Very suspicious.
Right.
She knew the car was acting weird. She couldn't find anybody to help her. There were very few shops are going to get involved in a bowl of spaghetti like this. And finally, she found us. And she had already talked to attorneys. What do I do? Many of them wouldn't even return the phone call.
She reached out to the shop.
She reached out to the shop multiple times that said, we're done here. And sometimes it takes some time to get some resolution with this. And this is probably going to take even more time than what we got going on here now. It's not that simple.
Yeah, you detail. She reached out to other shops for help. She reached out to the original repairing shop for help, and they won't even return her calls anymore. And she reached out to her insurer at the time, the one
This is all before coming to me.
Yeah. And so the presumption that she just woke up one day a year later and saying this doesn't work is not necessarily an accurate presumption.
Yeah.
And you know, here you go. These are the comments that we're receiving, and we're grateful for every one of them, even if you have a different opinion.
Love a different opinion.
Absolutely.
I love a different opinion because it makes me sit there and think, well, what about that?
Right.
Well, here's my reply to that.
Yeah.
And you know, in some cases I kind of agree and I can see where you're coming from. But for me, I don't operate that way.
Yeah.
I don't operate that way, and I'm not going to give up because somebody said boo.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going away that easy.
There you go.
And then we have, I've had customers with the same situation. There's really little to none another shop can do. Customer made a bad choice on the shop, correct, and this is the consequence. Maybe. I mean, it is the consequence, but do we just say, go lick your wounds and, you know, be done with it? We're not here to help you. No, somebody has to be there to help these people.
Right.
The legal side of the world does not know what to do with this kind of property damage minutia.
You bet.
They know personal injury. And that's where the money is. There's no money for attorneys in this unless there's bad faith involved. You can go after the shop's insurance policy. There's other ways to attack this,
Yeah.
but you have to have the wherewithal. You need to have a consumer advocate attorney, not just any attorney.
Right.
So, these are some of the things that came across. I loved the comments on this week's video, where there were 30 something of them, and one of them even called me a Neanderthal, or what did he call me?
A boomer.
A boomer.
Yeah.
I am a boomer.
Pretty much the same thing. You got a little more forehead than you used to.
Yeah, but for me, I got to be able to tell the story, and I can't do it in 4 minutes and 32 seconds or whatever you said. I'm a slow guy. I need to just walk through, and so you understand. If you can't stay to the end, I understand. Maybe we need to do more shorts and get right to the point.
Thank you for viewing anyways.
Yes, appreciate
All right.
you.
All right, well, Rob, I think that's going to wrap for today's conversation. We wanted to share these conversations with you because, again, it's not your job to go strolling through our comments. However, we love it when you leave comments, and we want you to know we read them and respond to them.
And other people do read them and say, I wonder if he's right. And that's why I take the time to respond if I don't necessarily agree with that point of view. So thank you.
Absolutely. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you. My dear friends, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the success from the last few videos. We are truly grateful. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you next Saturday. God bless.